Good evening and welcome to Cosmic Reid Live. Happy Monday. As they say, I am Cosmic Chris Reid. It is so awesome to be with you here once again on YouTube and broadcasting at the same time on WDWNT for all of your studios music, because it is Studios Appreciation Week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Cosmic Chris Reid, joined once again by my co-hosts Jeff and Angelina. Jeff, Angelina, how are things going?
Hey. Happy, oh my! Look at that beautiful dance she's got going on. I'm doing fantastic. I am trying to just remember that we didn't just leave off from chatting where we were last week, because it kind of feels the same. But I feel good. Everybody's looking good. You got a beautiful looking hat, Angelina. I've got the lights to match you going. You're looking lovely yourself, along with your co-host in the room. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, you got classic Steamboat Mickey from the Fantasmic finale. If you want to get studios technical here, I want to say hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. Hello, Joel, Richard, Shornforce. How's it going? I saw just before the chat. Was it Michael said he is now a Wigs member? Awesome!
Hey,
thank you so much for reporting that. That is great stuff. You go to patreon.com/WDWNT and you can donate. There's different levels of joining Wigs, so check it out, and you get exclusive access to different content from WDWNT, some after shows. Some of our other shows do after party shows, so you get access to that and a lot of cool stuff. So consider joining that. Also, if you are in the YouTube chat joining us and you feel like donating as little or as much as you want, that would be fantastic. It helps us keep the content rolling out here as we are continuing to be in this Disney parks void right now, as they all continue to be shut. But you don't need a reminder about that. Super Bowl champions. This is one of my favorite WDWNT shows. I'd say hats off to you, but it's stuck on because of these headphones right now. This bellhop hat I got going on here. But thank you so much. That truly means a lot. We love what we do here each and every Monday night. And make sure you're listening to the studio's music we're playing right now on NTunes. So we thought we would kind of do, this is the kickoff, this is kind of special, the first live show here in the evening about Disney's Hollywood Studios. And it kicks off a big week. Lots of studios like watch-alongs and programming and theming and stuff like that, including on the radio station. But we thought what we do here tonight is we like to focus on Disney park memories. We want to hear from you in the chat as well. What are some of your favorite Disney's Hollywood Studios memories? Do you have a favorite parade or show from the past? Where do you like to eat? Where do you like to drink? All that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you in the YouTube chat. So keep that going, and we'll keep interacting with you as well as the hour goes on. And we'll kind of do a roundtable here all throughout the hour. So I guess we can start with probably what's going to be the biggest one, in my opinion, is a favorite memory at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And there's been so many over the years. It could be hard to pick one, but let's go around the table now and do that. Jeff, you want to start this week? Your favorite memory at Disney's Hollywood Studios, or one of your favorite memories?
Oh man, there are so many, because I think about a month back when we started doing this, Mike, where is time going? I got to tell you.
I know.
We talked about the first time I ever went. Hollywood Studios wasn't even a thing with my parents, but the second time I went with my cousin, which was cool because we're kind of the same age, and my aunt and uncle had actually won a cruise on the Big Red Boat, which I think back in the day was somehow. It was affiliated with Disney before they became kind of Looney Tunes. So it was a little bit of a cruise, and then it was going to Hollywood Studios specifically on our first day there because it had just opened that year. And it was just so exciting because it was so brand new. It was like you could just see that the paint was still new. So, you think about it, and there's not a whole lot to do in the old studios because it was back in the MGM days, like it seemed like they had that movie feel. And it's kind of funny because I kind of work in video production now, and the little things like that from where you're growing up, you got on the backstage tour, and this was when Catastrophe Canyon was the thing, which I still thought was amazing. And you see all the behind the scenes and, costumes, and there was a little vignette on makeup and things like that. And I was like, man, this is something that I would love to do. They actually filmed productions there, not unlike what Universal also kind of was doing later in life. But I mean, that was just, sure. It's tough to beat your first memory, right? And then of course through the years, it's like you can have adult beverages, and Fantasmic launched, and there's wonderful nighttime spectaculars. But I mean, my favorite memory was that first time on the backstage tour, and Catastrophe Canyon blew me away as a young so cool.
I like that you used to be able to see some of the houses from the old 80s and 90s sitcoms. There was the Golden Girls house was on their Empty Nest houses were on that back lot. That's some, right? Yes. And that was so cool to see the facade of their house. And I remember then they took you around the back of it, and it's just boards and wooden. And you're like, huh? But they lived there. Just that illusion was gone. But it was so cool just to see that kind of stuff. And I completely agree, Jeff. I missed the backlot tour. That was so much fun. And how it kind of just evolved as movies came throughout the years, and they added stuff and took some stuff away.
I love that you said that. And there's some other people. I mean, at least 3 people. I finally was able to kind of look back at the chat, and so many people are talking about how they missed the backstage tour. And yes, Mandy goes, wait a minute, people actually win those cruises? And I said the same thing. I was like, this has to be a scam. And who knows? I was a teenager. She might have bought a timeshare. I don't even know, right? Isn't that how you win these things? But those backstage tours and the way they evolved, and even you were talking last week about that Tower of Terror, 13K, and even still then on the Run Disney, they still at least had the tram, and that was one of the coolest parts of those Hollywood Studios races. You got to run through where the tram went. I do miss, I mean, obviously people are gonna, if you say anything, they'll be crazy because they're like, I mean, they got rid of all that space so that we could have this beautiful Star Wars land. And I mean, you can't have it all. I get that. But I mean, there's still something I miss about old Epcot attractions that people think are terrible as well. But I mean, some of those old studio things, and that's why it's going to break my heart when, Angelina, you had said it earlier, but I mean, the Sunset Boulevard and that old time music, is that someday going to be on the chopping block? Because as they get further and further away from, that old Hollywood theme.
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah, no kidding. It's certainly something to think about as time gets on. That's the thing about the movies, is they just keep going, and the classics will always kind of still be there, but I think they'll keep pressing forward with different initiatives. And actually, there's someone's Super Bowl champs in the chat here said would rather have kept the backlot tour than ever have Galaxy's Edge, which that says a lot.
That does say a lot. Holy moly.
A huge Galaxy's Edge fan, and we'll talk about that next week, because next week is May the 4th, and I'm so happy that it's on a Monday because we're doing this. But yeah, the backlot tour, and then let's not forget the whole pre-show stuff. Is anyone in the chat? I want to know if you were participants of that pre-show. I got to do I got soaked with 200,000 gallons of water or whatever that was, where you make the phone call on the stage, and you got to volunteer for that. That was a lot of fun.
You did that?
I got photos of it. Didn't get video, but I got photos of it.
Oh, you got to post that to Twitter, man. That is freaking awesome.
I will. That was fun. That was a good time at the studios. I just missed that whole thing. And then actually in the queue, they had so many props from movies, and it wasn't necessarily labeled. It was just, they were just kind of there. And if you knew what it was, you knew what it was. And if you didn't, you didn't matter, right? But
those, and I love those little I know there's so many of those things in Galaxy's Edge, those little things, if you know, if you don't, little Easter eggs for people who are really passionate. And if we're talking about studios, I know that they've left some of those things. No, I still have not watched the ride through of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rail, but I know that there are some Easter eggs,
you're holding out,
throwbacks of that. I'm holding out, man. It's 13 years of Catholic school. It was tough. I learned a thing or two about holding out, but that's neither here nor there.
Don't spoil it for yourself.
Thanks, Angelina.
Angelina, okay, so over to you. What's a standout moment at Disney's Hollywood Studios for you? Then I'm going to go to the chat.
Well, I love that you guys are talking about all of these things, but my first year at Disney was in 2016, and so a lot of these things that you're talking about, I haven't actually seen, but I will be putting it on my list with all of the other things that we talked about last week. My favorite, you asked my favorite memory at Hollywood Studios. Oh boy, probably going back to like the old Hollywood music that I absolutely adore. And I had an opportunity at the end of a day, I think it was like Fantasmic had just finished and we were like the last ones in the park and we were leaving. And I literally felt like, I think I was doing an independent trip there by myself. And I felt like I was the only one in the park, and I was walking towards Tower of Terror, and it was just the old timey jazz music and me and no one else around. And I felt like, I was like, wow, this is Hollywood. I'm here. And that's like, that they do that to you. They put that music and make you really feel like you're there. And I was the only one there. And I was like, oh wow, this is fun. But cool. I love that strip going towards Tower of Terror, my favorite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like at Sunset Boulevard, it's just beautiful, and there is something special about it. They really, they do it in all of their lands. If you like Fantasyland and Animal Kingdom and Epcot, they really make you feel part of the story. But there's something I think extra about that at the studios because it's movies, and we can relate to so many decades and decades of all kinds of movies, like movies that are not necessarily like Disney movies themselves, right? But they're part of cinematic history, which is why they're there. And I think that's why you kind of get a special feeling. And then seeing that massive building at the end, the Hollywood Tower Hotel and the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is just, it's so cool. And especially at night, like you said, the lighting is just phenomenal on that. It's all over the place. It's great. I want to go to some of the chat here. Tell us your favorite studios, memories in the chat. We're going to go through a whole bunch of different kind of topics this hour. I think we'll get to all of them. We probably will. People saying Great Movie Ride was another favorite. Yeah, no kidding. Gotta love the Great Movie Ride and all that it was. I'll get to mine here, and I my wife would probably be upset if I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I want to say it, not because it's probably the one I should say. I was here. Yeah, actually, she's putting our son to bed upstairs, so but she might be watching on her phone. So gotta be careful here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, somebody said crying in front of the Tower of Terror because I was scared of it, Michael. Yeah. Well, my dad. Quick side story. Well, we're talking Tower. My dad didn't want to go on the Tower of Terror because he was just totally freaked out. And then we went in the lobby, and I had never been on it before too. But I was like, well, they're not like once you're sitting down and strapped down, that's when you're gonna drop, right? So we go into the library. And the lights go out, and we're like, you're standing in the library. My dad's like, we're going to drop. I'm like, we're not going to drop.
That would be the most amazing ride ever. Just no warning, no safety.
We're just standing in the dark and we're going to drive. He was so terrified. Then we went back 2 years later. It was our next family trip in '99. And we convinced him to go on it. And then he wouldn't get off it. He wanted to keep going on it, keep going. And he regretted not going on it the first time. It was so much better than he thought. So I'm really glad he actually ended up taking a trip on the Tower of Terror. And that's like his favorite ride now, which is cool. But
I'm sorry. Yeah. Am I a terrible person, Angelina? You're probably going to immediately just say yes because it may involve scared children. But you know how when you go and you can break off, you either go straight or you go right. This is Orlando. If I see a scared child, guess which way I'm going? Because I so badly, or just people who have never ridden it, right? Because like to your story point, you really don't know where the drop is coming if you've never been on it before. You just assume you go up and drop. That which is so. Look, I have chills thinking about about just the ride mechanism. Just the whole dang thing, guys. I'm missing it, kids. Anyways,
when it comes out.
Yes, I will always wait, and then I just love giving like a high five. I guess you can't do that with the COVID anymore, but a high five to those kids, man, who are generally
elbow.
90% of the time they are psyched that they wrote it. Yeah, elbow. Okay, all right. If I could still do that.
There you go.
And then give them a Clorox wipe. But anyways, I love that. I love watching the kids totally terrified, and then 3.5 minutes later, just like laughing, and it was the greatest thing in the world. And just being like, "Can we do that again?" I mean, that is like Disney magic. I miss even those moments. I don't even have kids. I miss those moments.
Totally. Epcot Forever said, so talking about favorite park memories, Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor were signing autographs and met them both in 1994. They were celebrating Singing in the Rain. Now that is cool. I'm assuming that was on the streets of America. Was that on the streets of America? Epcot Forever, let us know. That is really, really cool. Also, somebody said met Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters there. Very cool. Very cool. That'd be awesome.
Super cool.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. We could talk about celebrities. I don't think I've ever seen any that I've known at studios or anywhere in Disney, but I'm sure we've crossed paths at some point. So let me get on this story, and then we can move along with the next topic there. So I arranged it through Disney Weddings. We weren't having a Disney wedding, but I wanted to get engaged in the crowd at Fantasmic. So contacted Disney Weddings, and they said that could happen, but before they do any acknowledgement, they want to be assured that she will say yes, and then they'll acknowledge it. And because they had some not work out that way, and they were like on the microphone, and the guy or the girl said no, and yes, that was so they had so.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Fantasmic.
Yeah, no, right? The place where dreams come true.
Right, so, except for this one.
Yeah. So Susie, she doesn't work there anymore. She was a cast member with Disney Wedding. She was fantastic. I kept in touch with her a lot. We exchanged cell phone numbers for when I traveled down there. She wanted me to send a picture of the clothes I'll be wearing down there, so she would pick me out in the crowd. She got us VIP like seating, so like right behind the tech booth, kind of at the top in the top 4 rows, which is like awesome seating for Fantasmic. The close is good, but back you see everything, and in a theater like that, it's awesome. It's worth it back there. So she said she put our name on the guest list, and that was that. We'd be good, and I could do it, and I could slip off to use the restroom, and she would take my phone and could video the moment that I propose. So we get to the entrance of the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater, and I said, I told my wife that there was a friend of mine put us on the guest list, so we got good seatings, and she thought nothing of it. She knows we know some people down there, so maybe that's what happened. So I said my name, and they're like, "Nope, not on the reservation." I'm like, "What? Check again? It's REID. Yeah, you want to check again?" He's like, "Yeah, no, not on here." And then thankfully, Heather, so my now wife, Heather was like, "I'm just gonna go get a drink at the water fountain that was like close by." I said, "Yeah, go ahead." So I go up to this guy. I'm like, "Look, man, I'm gonna be engaged tonight. I'm getting engaged tonight." And he was like, "Oh," and Heather comes back. She's like, he's like, "Oh, Chris, yeah, yep, no problem. Just go up and around the corner and go talk to this person by the umbrella." I said, "Okay, thank you." So we go to the next, like, it wasn't a security checkpoint. It was just like another guest relations cast member. And we go up, and I said, "Yeah, we're supposed to be sitting in this VIP section." And she goes, "Oh, what's your name?" "Chris, Reid." She's looking, she's going, "Nope, no." And then she kind of goes like this with her little earpiece, and she's like, "Oh, yep." She's like, "Yep. So right over here." So it's like, so that guy obviously like radioed to her, like, "You're going to see a guy wearing this. Get him on the list." So I'm already like starting to lose it. This is terrifying to me. We go down, we get in our seats. I told my ring was in my one pocket it was in the camera bag, and I had to slip it into my pocket. And all day Heather's like, "I want to get a Mickey bar. I want to get a Mickey bar." So there was people selling them. I said, "Go get a Mickey bar. Of course she wouldn't get a Mickey bar. So pardon me, she wouldn't get a Mickey bar at that point. She wanted it all day. So now I'm like, she's on one side, I'm with my camera bag on the other, trying to get this ring like out of the camera bag, out of the box, out of the other box, and into my pocket without her seeing what I'm doing. And then I said, "Okay, I just got to go to the restroom. I'll be right back." Susie wasn't where she said she was going to be, and I was asking other cast members, and of course they were like, I don't know.
Dude,
we don't know.
You're stressing me out, man. I've actually heard this story like over many times.
Yeah. I was just like, what is going on? And I didn't even tell you the part that Heather was sick on the plane, and we almost didn't make it because they almost didn't let her on the plane, but we made it. And then my magic band didn't work. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm like leaving out of this.
Yeah, great.
People liking this in the chat. I say thank you. So I finally, this cast member comes running up to me, and it was Susie because she recognized the clothes. And I said, hey, she said, do you want pictures? I said, just like video it. I don't care if it's from like far away and just videotape it. So she said, okay. And then, so Heather and I are sitting back in our seats. I don't have my phone anymore. And I'm like, how can I get Heather, how do I get her to stand up? How do I get her to stand up? And at this point, I'm just done, right? Just done.
You trusted someone. What if they weren't even a cast member? They've stolen your phone too. It's so great. You're so trusting.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was her. I did a photo and all that. But okay. I guess prior to that, I said we should go get someone to like a cast member to take our photo. And she was like, well, let's just ask the people in front of us. I said, no, I'm going to go find a cast member. That's what it was. So there was that. Line. And then, so finally, I'm like, how do I get her to stand up? So I'm just like, I'm looking around. At this point, my brain is just totally fried. And then I see some lights that were kind of like beyond the trees when you're sitting in your seats to the left. And I'm like, I just start looking. I'm like, what is that? What is that? Hey, do you see that over there? And she's like, there's street lamps beyond trees. I'm just like, yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know. That looks kind of different. Look here, stand up. Here, stand up a minute. So finally she stands up, and I say my thing, and I get down on one knee, and Susie was taping it, and we got the moment, and she said yes, and the two people, the whole area around us applauded, and the couple behind us gave us $20, which was interesting because they said when they got engaged, like 50 years before or something, someone gave them $20 and it was special to them. So they were like, here's $20 from us. Now you do that when you see someone. So that was kind of cool.
That's awesome, dude.
After they confirmed, they said yes. The pre-show people on the microphones were like, hey, we just had an engagement in the crowd, and one of those big lights on the rack turns around and turns on, shines on. It's like, Chris and Heather, ladies and gentlemen. 15,000 people at the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater chanting Chris and Heather thanks to these cast members. They were throwing popcorn and confetti on us. It was fantastic. Awesome, and near the end of the show, Susie says, we got one more treat for you. So we're going to go backstage after. And I'm like, Fantasmic is like my favorite. So she finds that she knows where we are by this point. Everyone is going one way. We're the three little fish swimming the wrong way, 15,000 people. And we go... If you're in the seats and you go down the stairs, we go all the way to the left, and then beyond a couple of doors, we're still outside. And there to greet us was Aladdin,
don't say
Jasmine, Tiana, Pocahontas, Mulan, Mary Poppins, and Bert. All face characters.
Just casual.
And all
just casual.
In character, in their finale costumes from Fantasmic, all interacting. It was so overwhelming and kind of weird because we're trying to like keep up with them, but they're just like throwing this up. And you know what? I have a photo of it. This whole story I just told, we're gonna get an article up on it this week on WDW News Today. So I'll include that photo in the article. I'll throw it up on Twitter later tonight too. But it was just, that has to be the most magical moment that's ever going to happen to me at the studios. The characters, we didn't know that was going to be a thing. They just threw that at us at the end. And so to get a picture with all of those characters in once, like that doesn't happen.
That opportunity doesn't even exist.
No.
Did you actually just ask us for our stories just because you knew it was pointless? What's the having?
No. I was going to say, the show's over now. Everyone can go home. We're done.
No, it's not. Stick around. But you know what? That's thanks everyone in the chat. That means a lot. Were they sweaty? The characters? Yeah, they were. I think you can see it in the picture. The guy playing Bert, it looked like he's but so were we. So was I. That was the most chaotic day of my life.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and forever back then. Like, of all the things that went wrong and could have and almost happened in the daytime, and leading up to it, I'm like, well, they none of them know.
Oh boy.
Super chat.
That's how good the story was. You got to tell that story every week, bro.
Super Bowl champions, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. That means a lot to myself and Jeff and Angelina and everyone here at WDW News Today for the super chat. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is one of my favorite stories. I can't wait to tell our kid that when he's more than one. Yeah. Thank you. That's great. But we got lots more studio stuff to talk about. I want to mention, of course, as well, you can listen right now at WDWNtunes.com. We're playing studios music, a lot of pre-show music from Fantasmic. We'll do some Tower of Terror stuff, Rock and Roller Coaster, and lots more good stuff. We also have the poll on Twitter right now. Tower of Terror versus Rock and Roller Coaster. If you could only go on one, which would it be? You'd go on one, the other one is shut. It's a tough one. Yeah, we got a pretty close race on Twitter right now.
How much time we got?
Yeah.
This should have been a 2-hour show just to tell that story.
David said, my favorite memory was extra magic hours from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. this past September for the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Gave me a lot of time to hit every major ride before the park was. Yeah, no kidding. And because everyone went that way and you go that way and do everything else. That's awesome.
Could have rode Tower of Terror like 15 times before you even waited in a queue. Seriously, that's a great answer.
And I don't know how they wear these things for like 8-9 hours. These are not comfortable and they don't breathe, these hats. But it's Studios Week, so I have
perfect
to wear
for
it.
The Orlando summers, I guess. That was well thought out.
Yeah. Well, let's go on here. We got lots more studio stuff to talk about. How about there's I'd say good places to eat in the studios. It's not some of to me the best food, but they got some fun options, I guess, if you count it compared to other parks. Jeff, let's go with you first. Favorite place to eat at Disney's Hollywood Studios?
So favorite place to eat, man, I don't want to feel like I'm somebody else in the chat had even said this. So I'm going to keep it to it's sort of new. It's new-ish, I'll call it, but I'm kind of an apps person. So I would say the Baseline Tap House, which previously Angelina had mentioned it, somebody had mentioned it inside the chat room, but at the beautiful drive-in, at the drive-in theater restaurant. This is right outside of it, and I don't know if they built it as overflow for it or if it was just a happy coincidence that the space was there, but it's just a great place, kind of near Muppet Vision and Star Tours, and it's just a great place if you're either waiting for a fast pass or just want to kill some time and just kind of people watch. They've got a beautiful outdoor patio, and they have this wonderful beer sampler that shockingly is reasonably priced. I actually think it's only $12. And you, thank you. That's the amazing thing for a beer sampler there. I think it's only $12. That'll probably change when the park opens, but they've got kind of pub pretzels with mustard and some other little assorted appetizers. So I'm gonna keep it there. I mean, if I'm feeling rich, if I hit the lottery or say, I had enough money to give to one up that super chatter. I love the Brown Derby. I went there. That special occasion place, man. Right, Brown Derby's fantastic. If you want to be fancy, not looking so fancy in my thermal shirt, but you know what I mean. But
what are people saying in the chat here? We got ABC Commissary, Hollywood Brown Derby, Pizza. Just kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Pizza Rizzo. Totally agree. Yeah, even when it was Pizza Planet, just nope. 50s prime time for the experience of being called big kids. Yeah. Angelina, what do you say for eating at Disney's Hollywood Studios?
Yeah, well, I was going to give my friend Benjamin there a shout out. He was a Hollywood Studios cast member, so thanks for joining us. But 50s Primetime Cafe, I've always wanted to go. That's on my list of places to go. I've heard that it's fun and exciting, and I love my old-timey Hollywood. But definitely sci-fi. I saw that Super Bowl champion was saying sci-fi. Scorn Face, Joel earlier was saying sci-fi. Their burgers are, I think my partner and I have said that that's number 1 or number 2 burger that we've ever had in our entire life was from the Sci-Fi Diner.
Oh, that's
like,
amazing.
Yeah, honestly, in life, like literally not even joking. Good stuff.
I agree with you about Sci-Fi, and they're actually, again, not to just constantly, but if you've got a family of 4 or 5, I mean, like somewhere affordable is kind of key, and Sci-Fi is not totally unreasonable either, which is kind of nice for a burger and a, like you said, air conditioned place as well.
Yes, air conditioning.
Yeah, I'd agree. Totally agree with that.
Prime Time, the family dining one, or is that the place that's next door?
Yeah.
Or am I just confusing?
No, it's the
50 is family dining, right?
Yeah, it's the one where like
Yes.
you can't put your elbows on the table, you can't,
Right.
you got to finish your vegetables and all this stuff, or they'll make you do stuff. I'm gonna say that one. It's just I do like the food there. I mean, it's not the best, but it's totally not the worst. It's okay. It's a good lunch maybe. I like the pot pie. I do like the meatloaf. The peanut butter jelly, the milkshake. Awesome stuff there as well. And then the Tune In Lounge is right there as well. It's right kind of in the waiting area of the lobby. So if you're lucky enough to get a seat there, because it is limited, that's cool too. You can have a good drink or two before you go in there. This whole shtick that they do with the, it's like they're like your parents and you're the big kids and you're going and don't put your elbows on the table, and it's very like what my grandpa was like. You'd always say no elbows on the table, and he'd be serious about it. The cast members are like only half serious, but there was one table probably 10 years ago that was beside where I was eating, and the server said something like elbows off the table, and the guest was like, "Excuse me, we're paying how much to be here? I can put my elbows on the table." Like he got so upset, and I was like,
Oh man!
Like, and they're like, "Do you mind?" And for the rest of the time, the poor cast member was just like a regular server, because I think she was just like, okay, I'll just
wasn't in on the
totally like, do you think they're not actually yelling, like not yelling at you, they're just having fun with you. And this person, I will never forget that. So quick side story here. My smartwatch about 2 minutes ago said "great job." It thought I was working out when I was so animated with that engagement story, because I was doing this and that. It said "great job." I'm like, "Great job." Oh, I know. So there you go.
Man, in this quarantine, man, we might have to do this show 3 times a week so you can start closing your exercise rings or whatever.
I just got 400 more steps from telling a story.
Oh boy.
So yeah, and a couple comments in the chat here about food. Was it David that said Docking Bay 7's pretty good? And I would totally agree with that. We had the Ronto roaster there, which was pretty good. They got some good drinks there too. The sour Carlac or something. It's one of the spacey named drinks. Wasn't alcoholic, I don't think, but it was tasty as well. When it comes to like beverages, we might end up saying the same places, but I want to know in the chat if people have been to Galaxy's Edge, Disneyland or Disney World. I guess it doesn't matter. We're talking about studios, but blue milk versus green milk versus just don't like it at all. I tried it because I felt it. Yeah, it's kind of like I tried it because I was there and it hadn't got the best reviews ever. But I tried it because I was there. Didn't really care for it. I tried the blue. I'll probably try the green next time, and then maybe never have it again. People in the chat saying, "Okay, so blue milk, green milk gang, # green milk gang." Yeah, it was interesting. It's nothing. It's just one of those things that, well, you're here, you may as well try it. But again, it's like $6 or $7 for a little.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. I like that somebody had mentioned, it's like if you're talking about reasonably priced things, it's a tough pill to swallow to spend $6-7 on something that is just not even really all that enjoyable, by the way. So, but I mean, I definitely tried blue just because I had to, and I'm like, okay, well, did that. You got the picture, you got the gram, you do it for the gram, I guess. Right?
Yeah,
isn't that what people did?
Absolutely.
Kind of. That's basically what. Yeah, there is that. Kyle in the chat here says, for $8 a cup, they both suck. Yeah, it pretty much sums it up for me too.
Yes.
Joel said, Oga's. I love the Tiki Endor mug. I bought it in December 2019. So worth it. Yeah, Oga's is fun. And in terms of like where to get drinks, it's fun. And I understand why, but they limit you to that 45 minutes, and it's just like, man, I'd like to stay there twice that long or have the option to, but it's just so popular. They need to get people in and out and in and out. The service is, when I was there anyway, was really, really fast. It was awesome. I just and the theming was fantastic, and the drinks were great. But it's that time limit that I'm just like, I feel like I'm always watching my watch. And when I go to a lounge or a cantina, I want to be like, just not thinking about, I got to get out of here soon.
That's such a tough thing. I mean, it's much like the boarding passes and things like that. It's like this whole experience is going to be so much more enjoyable for me personally. I mean, as a guest, right? Air quotes guest. When the next big thing opens, whatever that next big thing is. So some of the people kind of move out of there. I mean, this, I think, if somebody knows numbers, God bless. But, Avatar, when it first opened, it was just like you almost just couldn't even walk around. And plus, everybody wanted to go there at night. And it's, just to see it. Now that is kind of opened up a little bit. And because everybody's going over to get kicked out of Olga's after 45 minutes, when the next big thing opens and you can kind of like really appreciate it, I think that's good. That's gonna be game changer for me, because I'm totally with you. Like, I'm giving you a lot of money, you're gonna rush me out of here now for whatever I'm drinking or eating,
Yeah, that was it was a little bit tough for me. Kyle saying Olga's is very hit and miss for me. I've been there when they literally placed one of my family members on top of another guest at a bar. Yeah, we lucked out. We lucked out with this, and we got a booth now, and it wasn't because we had a son with us, because there were other people that were standing with babies that were like younger than he was at that point.
Right.
So yeah, it's fun for the atmosphere, and the theming is great and all that stuff. I just wish they took that time limit off, and you'd be able to try more drinks and sample different things, so.
Do you remember, this is going to be a complete 180, and I don't want to get away from studios, but that's how, and it's hit or miss. I guess it's maybe food and wine at Epcot, but like the Mexico pavilion, everybody is like so hot on those jalapeno margaritas, right? And it's just like, whatever the hot thing is, everybody's in there. You can barely walk around. And then, I don't know, then the next hot thing comes along. That's kind of like, you need to be kind of okay missing the hype and then just enjoying yourself a little bit more, maybe like a year and a half later.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is more, I guess, Disneyland, and we'll save some of this chat for next week when we're talking all things Star Wars on May the 4th day, which is next week. But Rise of the Resistance had just opened in Disneyland less than a week before we got there. We didn't even try, because we were with my wife, her parents, our son, and just to get them all out and in the park before whatever time it was, 7 a.m., we just forget it. And it's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. That ride is going to stay. So I was not in a rush. I was happy to do everything else, and we can talk about more of that stuff next week as well.
Right. Totally.
So we got about 20 minutes left here. If you're just tuning in, thanks so much. It's Cosmic Reid Live. Jeff and Angelina with us as always. We got lots of studios music playing on WDWN tunes, not just this hour, but Monday to Friday between like 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern. Lots of studios music. And then on Friday, it's going to be an entire studios day from 9 a.m. till 10 p.m., giving you all types of studios music, past and present, everything from the Backlot Tour to Batuu. We'll do Fantasmic hour at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Before that, we have nighttime spectaculars from the studios past. So we got like Sorcery in the Sky, Star Wars weekends, fireworks, and all that kind of stuff that happened years ago. The Wonderful World of Animation is another fireworks show they had, and projection show they had on the Chinese theater there. So stay tuned. We got lots of studios music, pre-show music, lobby music from the Tower of Terror, Aerosmith for Rock and Roller Coaster, and lots of stuff from the Great Movie Ride as well. So we got all that coming up.
That is so exciting because I mean it's just a time capsule, right? I mean, like that's what
it is.
This whole area for Disney fans. I mean, it is a time capsule from wherever you went. Because I'm the old man on the block, and then Angelina, what you said, 2016 was your trip? Is that what it was? I mean, like so from then, I mean. If you're just reliving it or experiencing it for the first time, I mean, that's why this place is so, WDWNT is just so incredible. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, there's lots of programming, studios related stuff this week. A Studios Appreciation Week all week. Lots of articles. If you caught the engagement story I told you, that's going to be an article on the site a little bit later this week as well. So lots of good stuff to read, to listen to on NTunes, and then to watch here on YouTube. And if you like the content that we're dishing out to you, you can feel free to donate in the super chat. Which, if you're chatting on YouTube right now, it's the little $ below the chat. Donate as little or as much as you want. All of it goes to WDW News Today and all of our staff here, and we can continue pumping out all this content on a daily basis, which is super important, especially in this time, this Disney Parks void, I guess you could say. We got lots of other stuff to talk about studios, past and present. There's been so many shows and tours and stuff like that throughout the years at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I want to kind of maybe hit on some of those right now. Angelina, when we're talking about like shows, stage shows, maybe the tours or something like that at Disney's Hollywood Studios, what is your favorite, or what is one of your favorites?
Well, I don't know if my little guest here gives you an idea.
It does for me.
I mean, we already mentioned, I think, one of the greatest shows in Hollywood Studios, which is Fantasmic. Oh, that when Mickey first comes out and chills. And I am crying by the end of that show. Like once that boat comes in, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Makeup's off. It's such a good show. I love that one. Yeah.
I would have to. I'll throw mine out next, and I'll agree with that as well. Fantasmic is my favorite, but it always has. I'm not just talking the whole engagement thing. I've loved it since the first trip that we went on in '97. It just something stuck with me, and how at the end where Mickey's at the top and then he appears at the bottom, and then there's just this big boom and he's gone in like half a second. I don't know how hard he gets pulled down, or she gets pulled down, or who the performer gets pulled down, but like, whoa, they are gone real fast. So I have to go with Fantasmic as well. I really, really, really wish that they would bring the Disneyland Fantasmic to Disney's Hollywood Studios. The new effects they've done on it, the dragon I think looks a lot better. The soundtrack has been a little bit updated. I just think Florida's a little bit dated compared, well, not a little bit, it just looks older compared to that one. And if you have a chance to look at it on YouTube or something, the effects and the lighting on the Disneyland one are like, to me it's far superior than the one in Florida. I would love to see that at the studios.
You're breaking my heart a little bit. It was a statement. I mean, that wasn't even like he like went way. He took opinion and just like grand slammed it out of here. I hate to say it, but I agree with you. I used to defend the Hollywood Studios version. I mean, vehemently, just because it was different. It had more music, plus the fact it was a little longer, and I always wanted more. You know what I mean? It's the difference between you're standing and sitting, right? I always thought it was kind of cool that it was its own theater, as cool as it is to transform the island. But I do think that it is time. It's kind of like, look, man, Illuminations was my favorite show of all time. But I mean, even I would have to say the way technology has come, I think there's so much more they could do with it now. You know what I mean? Like whether it was I don't want them to get rid of it, because I think the theming of it, like it was like when they got rid of Wishes, like I still get sad about that at Magic Kingdom, right? Because like there was just like thematically it was beautiful, and I think the orchestral music and the composition of Fantasmic, if they could keep it as a bookend, the magic of having all the characters, and you actually gave me chills when you were talking about Mickey, and sometimes the lasers work and sometimes they don't. It's like the thing breaks down all the time. Sometimes the dragon's there, sometimes it's not, because it's just old, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's just when everything is firing on all cylinders, I don't know if there is a better show, only because you pointed out from your engagement story, and by the way, a little plug for Chris here, if you tuned in late and didn't hear the engagement story, pull this thing up later in the week and show it to a loved one, because it is bring a tear to your eye. But I mean, when Fantasmic is flying on all cylinders, I think it's unbelievable. I will do a very crazy B-side though. Does anyone at all remember that for about 15 minutes there was a Hunchback of Notre Dame show there? Yeah. Anyone?
Yep. I did see that. Yeah.
It might have played 4 times totally, and I think I saw one of them. I don't know. It's kind of like the movie, right? Like the movie's flash in the pan. I loved that movie, and it is because like I loved Broadway. I think all 3 of us are theater kind of geeks in one way or another. And I loved Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I realized it was like hit after hit after hit. Hunchback comes on, I think it might have been a little deep, and it was like way dark for Disney, and I think there was a little bit of a bump in the road. But sonically, at least, like to your ears, it is the closest to me that just sounded like Broadway. You know what I mean? It sounded like a Broadway show. So it just made sense to see it live on stage. I've always wished they would kind of do that, but I feel like I was one of the only people that liked Hunchback, though it is amazing that he's in Happily Ever After. I mean, the show is 15 minutes long, and like Hunchback's in it for like 30 seconds. That was kind of crazy. So who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I do remember that one.
Fantasmic is the
yeah. No, it's great, and I want to get to a couple of comments here in the chat. So Epcot Forever said, how could you not compare watching in New Orleans Square in Disneyland versus an amphitheater Disney's Hollywood Studios? I completely get that, and that is the one thing at Disneyland, because you're sitting on the ground watching it or you're standing. That is a super annoyance to me. That's why I'm saying bring that version to studios, because then it would be in an amphitheater and much more comfortable. Trying to get a spot for that is just kind of ridiculous. It is a weird spot to have Fantasmic, but I get that there's really nowhere else to do it, and that's what they have to do. But that is a pain sitting there for way 2-3 times as long as you sit at the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater, because there's so much seating, and ultimately there's really no bad seat in that place. There's better seats, but there's not a horrible seat in Hollywood Hills. So
it seems like more of an event in Disneyland. I think there is something, and everybody always complains about crowds, but when there are just countless people, even if it's something like a fireworks show, never mind like a live event, when there's just so many people, I mean, there's like a vibration that you feel, right? So when you're packed in New Orleans Square, I do think that there might even be the perception of this excitement and this buzz, because if the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater is half full, which does happen, I mean, like, it's definitely not as popular of a show as it was 2 decades ago, you can feel it. And I mean, whether the characters feel it or whatever, but I mean, when you're next to someone and you're like this, again, COVID-19 world, I mean, it's just like that excitement is so contagious.
Totally agree. And it seems like a kind of mixed reaction in the chat here. Was it Alyssa saying a Hunchback was my favorite? So there you go. So Alyssa, shout out to a Hunchback there in the Hunchback show.
So we're the 2 people that saw it. Nice job.
Yeah, you too. I do remember that one being there. I remember, now this goes back to, I believe it would be 97 or 99 in there. There was a tour that you could take, and it was the 101 Dalmatians, like the live action Glenn Close. They had this set of Cruella de Vil on the tour that you could take.
Oh yeah, man.
In one of the buildings. And you got to hold, or they on our tour, they let us hold the little puppies, and they were like fuzzy Jello mold puppy. It was like right when the puppy would have been born, and like not a lot of fur, and it was this little thing that you could hold in your hand at the time. And then we go down another building, and they were shooting from the Earth to the moon, which was like a whole, like a 7 VHS set right now or something of starring Tom Hanks, or he directed it or something, and he was in the building at the time as well. It was all that kind of stuff that's not there anymore, and those buildings are still standing and going.
Hollywood stories, man. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
no kidding. I'm learning so much.
VIP.
Yeah, that was fun. That was I just all these things kind of stand out. Studios was the very first park I went to. First attraction I ever went on was Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, which somehow is still there, and followed by Star.
I think Indiana Jones stands up, and I mean, you're making me actually like, if I had to pick favorite worst park or rank them, like, you single-handedly have I think moved the needle a little bit, even tonight, and just your stories and your rememberings, and that's what I love about this hour so much. And just thinking back, there's so much. And I love that about this show and just Disney in general. But I mean, even like the animation, right? When they actually would make films in that building, there was an excitement there because you were watching animators at work. You know what I mean? Like, there's something missing, like not having that anymore. And that's where I think some of the identity of that park was lost, continues to be lost. And then it's like, you know, they bought Star Wars, so they're like, okay, we're going to plop that down there. But I do still feel like there's a bit of a identity crisis in some way. I mean, who am I? I'm not getting paid $47 million a year, but you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I missed that. And yeah, I missed that because you go in Launch Bay now and you're like, where there used to be an animator sitting in one of those glass rooms is now like like a stormtrooper armor or something, and you're like, wah wah. Like, it's cool, but I mean, I remember what was there, and it's, you know, Disney Planning Insight podcast said saw Fantasmic on the day the parks closed before this whole situation broke out. Energy was the highest I'd ever seen it. Agree with the buzz in the theater with the big crowd. Yeah, no kidding. That's been awesome. So hard to keep the Hollywood Studios theme without the live studios there anymore. That's Benjamin. Thanks so much for joining us. Elizabeth also says, I missed the animation. It was always exciting to see what they were working on. And then see it go to theaters. Yeah, it was kind of like you saw a preview before the trailer and all that stuff, right? It was really cool what they had. There's such a history of the studios. And for a while, it was not my favorite park. I still wouldn't say it my favorite park, but I have a whole appreciation now that all these years have gone by and all these memories, even this hour, have been kind of festering. Like, it's a pretty special place. Shout out to... somebody was talking about Osborne Lights as well. Like, I don't know how we haven't mentioned that, but
Caitlin.
Angelina. Yes, Caitlin. There we go. Yeah, and she did she work there? Was she working there at the time, or she was down there?
Oh yeah, Caitlin's worked at all the parks. Yeah. So.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Osborne.
Drew had mentioned that too. I think Drew actually works in the lighting world, and I mean, you know, you talk about all of these people around the country and world are trying to match what they did in this theme park eventually. You know, you've got Imagineers, like, how are you going to compete with that? But I mean, that was some of the most amazing lighting programming ever. And Short Force actually just said something that I loved going to the animation classes in that building. And it's interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, if you were there recently, but they still do it at Disneyland, do they not? Don't they do the animation classes?
Yeah, they might. We didn't do it because we were with the little one, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they do have a building there that they do it in Disneyland. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, those are strange things. I don't know why they don't do things like that anymore. And back to I mean, it was like a built-in promo. You know what I mean? Like you said, like, they're drawing this movie, and you're definitely going to go see it if you have seen a single cell made. You know, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Angelina, did you ever do the animation, like the drawing or anything like that, or any of those kind of classes they offered?
Like at Hollywood Studios?
Yeah.
I don't think that it was around when I started in 2016. So no, I didn't. But I was gonna say that there was something similar, and I don't know if this was always in Disney Springs at Disney Quest. They had an animation section. I don't know if that was there after they closed the animation stuff at Hollywood Studios, or if that was always there. But they had a little cute little animation station there that you could do stuff. But rest in peace, Disney Quest.
Yeah. I know.
So sad.
I I'd love to see that come back. I spent a lot of time in Disney Quest, and yeah, I do remember they had that classroom, that area set up there with like different tables that you could go and do that. That was a lot of fun. Here's a question.
Here. Can you see this? I'm sorry.
What is that?
I'm sorry. This is just because this was I'm just looking at Minnie right there. I mean, this was just of course, my drink coaster, but it was just amazing because in 28 minutes, they would just show you how to draw that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a terrible artist, and it's just so cool. Those little experiences, and thank you for bringing that back, Chris. That was amazing.
Yeah. No, that's. So we got like 4 minutes left here. This is a total off the cuff question. So if they brought those animation classes back, gave you a whole binder of animated Disney characters and said, you have one of our animators right here. They know how to draw every single one to a T, and they're going to teach you in 28 minutes or whatever you said. You know what I'm going to ask.
I do.
Jeff, I'll start with you.
Great question. This actually came to me like as almost like an angel brought it to me, or Angelina's Mickey brought it to me. Anyways, I'm going Figment. I don't even know that Figment was an option, and I'm sorry that it's not Hollywood Studios related, but Figment is my answer, and it just came to me, and I'm not even second guessing it.
Angelina, what do you say?
He took mine, so now I'm trying to think on the fly. I love Figment. Okay. I want to go just classic. I'm gonna say my Steamboat Willie. Let's go classic.
I love it.
I love him, and I know that's easy to draw Mickey, but I mean this hat, it's gotta be complicated.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, because I've always wanted to draw this guy, and the failed attempts have been hilarious. Sebastian actually is super kind of random, but I've always liked his shape and stuff like that. And I've tried. I should like post some really sad drawings of Sebastian that I've done, because it's pretty funny. We should do that one time on the show. All throughout the hour, draw and by memory, not look at the computer, and then at the end, hold them up.
Well,
maybe we should.
There's the show after May the 4th.
I'm gonna say we're talking more characters at that time, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna. Yeah. So if for anyone that missed the, I found the picture here, and we can't pull it up totally on this, so I'm gonna hold it up to my thing here, and see. This is when we got engaged. This, hopefully, you can see all the characters in that there. We got Aladdin.
Oh my goodness.
That is so beyond awesome, man. That's
Pocahontas was there, yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. That is awesome, when we got engaged.
That is a magical moment. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need to post that Sebastian picture, because you're making us look like a bunch of chumps here. So
I'll find it. Oh, it's terrible.
We need to knock you back a bit.
He looked like that and I don't watch it, but is it like SpongeBob or something with like the crazy, what's the crab with like the eyes that go like way out, like they look like antennas but they're eyes. I don't even know what cartoon that is. I have no idea what cartoon it is. He's red.
Mr. Krabs?
Oh yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Of course it's Mr. Krabs. Of course that's his name. I had no idea.
Sean Forrest got it for you. Of course it's Mr. Krabs.
It is Mr. Krabs. I was half close. You were 100% right. Yeah, Eugene Krabs. You got a first name too. All right, I like that. We'll do that in a couple of weeks. So next week, yeah. On that note, is our producer back here? I haven't got a word that our producer is back yet. So, because until he takes us off the air, guess what? Yeah. We're on the air. So,
guess we got to keep going. Oh shucks.
What else do we have to do?
Well, we'll close out by saying next week is May the 4th, so it's going to be all things Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Star Tours. Got some cool stories from that. You can hit us up on that. We'll be playing lots of Star Wars music on NTunes. This week, it's all about Disney's Hollywood Studios. As you found out this past hour, we are going to be dishing out the Hollywood Studios music on NTunes, live programming right here on YouTube. We have lots of articles and stories from Disney's Hollywood Studios, really cool past documents and maps and all that kind of cool stuff you can see at WDW News Today. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, still no word from him. He must be ready because I'm just like, I'm going to hope
like,
so.
why
Anyway,
are these guys still talking?
Otherwise, we're doing hour 2. And in 2 weeks from now, we are going to do the draw a character by memory all throughout the show. And at the end of the show, we'll show our creations. But zero cheating. You can't go on the computer or your phone and look. Don't do it. Just do it by memory. Because I want to see how we're going to be talking.
I'm gonna buy a 3D printer just so I can have something because you don't even know my lack of drawing ability.
Oh man, it's gonna be terrible.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be so bad, dude.
I'm ready.
We'll do that. May the 4th is next week. We got the all clear here. So thank you, Adam. I like that Adam actually threw in something quickly talking about the. Adam was talking about the Tower of Terror movie and asked if I watched it again yet. Nope. I haven't watched it again yet.
Oh my! That was like a month ago. You didn't do your homework. You're a terrible student.
Still haven't done it. Classes are canceled right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
So, hey, thank you everyone for joining us. I totally appreciate interacting in the chat with you. Man, there's too many people to thank in here. Benjamin, thank you so much. Michael, Adam, Super Bowl champions, thank you for the super chat. We always appreciate that here at WDW News Today. Totally makes our night. It makes a night when all of you join us in the chat as well. We'll talk May the 4th with you next week. So excited about that one. 9 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. Lots of Star Wars music to accompany you on WDWNT. For Angelina, for Jeff, I'm Cosmic Chris Reid. This is Cosmic Reid Live. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Have a magical night. We'll talk to you all next week.